One of the things that we did at HP and the Technology Solutions Group about a year ago is we did a survey of our customers. We're always talking to our customers about what they think is important. And one of the things our customers told us is that about 80% of their business processes in their companies are enabled and powered by IT. And that doesn't surprise us, but what was also interesting is if you look at the amount of what the CIOs and CEOs thought about that, they thought that about 99% of the CEOs thought that their IT department and those key business processes were absolutely critical to their business. And in fact, 83% of their own CIOs thought so as well. What was interesting is that fewer than half thought that the technology investments that they had made were actually resulting in business outcomes for their company. That they weren't achieving their objectives, that they weren't getting an ROI, and it was for a variety of reasons. And as we dove into those, what we decided to do as a Technology Systems Group, and we announced this theme and really our whole overall enterprise strategy about 2 months ago, to really dedicate ourselves and our products, solutions, everything that we're doing, our services and software, around creating business outcomes for our customers. And we thought that the only way that we could effectively measure those are the way that our customers told us that they would like to have them be measured. In particular, around helping them accelerate their business growth, which is something that we all would like to do, lowering their costs, which in turn can allow a company to invest in itself to fuel that growth, and of course to mitigate risks, which is a very important thing today in an increasingly compliant, intensive environment. So we built a set of solution pillars, if you will, that govern everything we do in the Technology Solutions Group. They're really enabled around our service and storage offering, our services offering, and our software offering. These three solution pillars really are the three that you see here on the list. The first one is called Business Information Optimization, and this is really the set of things that HP can do with our customers to allow them to take the information they have in their companies, many times it's latent or distributed or in different formats, and help them to use that for competitive advantage for their companies. The second is called Business Technology Optimization, and this is a combination of many of the assets we had from both an OpenView perspective and our Mercury acquisition, and then many other things that we've added to this portfolio, some of which we've announced this week. What this is really about are the sets of software and services that we can assist our customers with so that they can better manage their data centers and their infrastructures. And then lastly, our adaptive infrastructure has been our foundational infrastructure strategy for over 2 years. This is really our umbrella, our blueprint, if you will, that has governed our investments as well as our acquisitions in my team over the last 2 years, and the results of which you'll see some of the announcements that you'll hear from today. The adaptive infrastructure really is our vision of kind of that 7x24 next generation data center for lights out computing. And if you see here on the next slide, really it fundamentally is changing the way infrastructure is provisioned and built out in data centers. Our customers have seen pain points around low utilization cost, high operations cost, and IT budgets that are growing and innovation spend, in many cases vanishing because of just the fixed costs of staying in the current business. Very underutilized resources and a very efficient overall situation for them. And that's largely because of the way those infrastructure elements, whether they're server or storage or networks, were provisioned. And then historically along the lines of a line of business and application, a set of operations teams, very statically aligned, and it was provisioned for sort of the worst case maximum environment that could happen at a peak workload. And if customers didn't really know for sure and they thought hardware was cheap or whatever, they would just buy a lot of it. And what that created was a lot of, you've heard your own favorite utilization level kind of estimates, whether it's 15 or 20% that servers are utilized, often storage is in that same ballpark. And that's just because there's inherently over-provision. And of course, therefore, they're taking up more operations staff than they need. And as well, they're taking up more power and cooling footprint as well, which is a huge pain point and source, both practically for many data centers, which are out of that space, but even more fundamentally, it's just environmentally an awful thing to do. So this future state is really more about how can you provision data centers at a more adaptive way, being able to do very late binding on a server or storage asset, either against a changing or increasing business need or a new application, or as capacity is needed as customers bring on more and more customers. And so we view that state, we have many customers going to that state, and in fact, HP is going in that direction ourselves. As we consolidated from 82 data centers down to 6, the whole idea about how I run a very large part of HP, I can buy companies, but I can't buy a server. And the reason I can't buy a server is if I bought a company that had a server, my IT department would take it away from me, and they would make it part of this pooled set of resources that could be shared ultimately by other people who either need that application or that other set of workloads. So we view the key enablers along the bottom here. This is all powered by obviously great products, IT systems and products and services. Certainly HP, through the years, we've grown to have very large market shares, as you know, in many parts of the world, in all of our key products. And certainly 1 out of 3 servers, as an example, sold around the world as an HP server, and on and on. You know that we have those sets of things, and they're largely built around our commitment to open industry standards, both in terms of disaggregating our pricing model, but also staying on absolutely the most aggressive pricing curves that are in the industry. Power and cooling, which is very much of an important thing. We try to deal with at 3 levels. At the product, kind of the atomic level, how do we take advantage of devices that are energy efficient and exploit those capabilities? At the product level, and you'll hear about some today, we try to be very savvy about modulating their power based on their actual usage. And then at a data center level, by some of our techniques like our data center products and services that will actually create a whole closed loop feedback system in your data center that even ties into your air conditioning based on your workloads. So we've seen examples where we can save customers 10, 20, 40% of their total budget. In many cases, some of those power and cooling levels were what they actually needed just to make it fit in legacy data centers. The management has been a key pillar for us from the beginning, really anchored around our product called Systems Insight Manager, which is still the only integrated device level manager that's shared between servers and storage. And so it's a very, very powerful construct, one pane of glass to manage that entire environment. We continue to build on that with products like our Storage Essentials or AppIQ acquisition that we did a year ago. Security, you'll hear an update today from our security director. This is something that's increasingly a concern for our customers as they worry about security, both from a compliance perspective and as well from just the number of people that are trying to get into their data centers for malicious or other reasons. The virtualization and automation, I think, kind of run hand in hand, and we've always had a very strong leadership position in the virtualization of our integrity servers. We've led the industry in that. Being able to automate those environments then becomes the key to developing that whole asset pool and being able to deploy resources more based on demand than having them statically assigned to a given workload. So really the whole adaptive infrastructure is about creating this, in the limit, a 7 by 24 lights out data center with fewer people, higher utilized assets, and having a much, much smaller power and cooling and carbon footprint for our customers, freeing up costs, allowing them to grow, and mitigating their risk, going back to the original ideas around the business outcomes that we're trying to create for our customers.